9:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. I don't know if the county attorney's coming today or not. We may have a few more to come in, so they open the door and come on in, don't boo. But let's have the call.
Master King?
Here.
Master Barger?
Here.
Master Hughes?
Here.
Master Combs?
Here.
Judge Clark?
Let's have approval of minutes. Have motion paid.
So moved.
Second.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes. Before we have the treasurer's report, let me say that I did talk to Kent this morning. He's got a bad head cold. He's not feeling good. Matter of fact, I think he's even going to the doctor, so he wanted me to relay that on to you, so I'll take his place today. And we have treasurer's report. Is Glenna not coming today? Okay, so we'll get that at the next meeting. And on the order of business, before we go into the order of business, I'd like to ask the court, ask your approval for executive session personnel matters at the end of the meeting.
So moved. Okay.
Thank you.
Did you call?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Who's the second?
Me.
Kenny, Billy.
Master King?
Yes.
Master Barger?
Yes.
Master Hughes?
Yes.
Master Combs?
Yes. First item on the business, Mr. Greg Williams. Greg, I'm gonna limit your time now to 30 minutes.
I can do this. I gave up my time last meeting.
I know, and we're glad you did.
Well,
But we're glad to have you, Craig.
Looked
Thanks for being here.
pretty crowded. Well, thanks a lot, Larry. And before I start, I'd like to congratulate Magistrate Barger and you on your win, and thank Magistrate King and Hughes for their service to the community. They didn't win because they didn't run. So, and of course the sheriff and Kenny as well. And everybody that serves the community in one way or another really deserves the appreciation of that community. We're going to talk about the Chem D-Mill program this morning. And if I can figure out. And as you can see in your handout or on the screen, I'm going to cover a number of areas. And I'm going to try to move through them rather quickly. And then, of course, there'll be an opportunity for questions and discussion at the end of the presentation. I guess the first and most important thing is the money. As everyone knows, in order to move this project forward, there has to be an annual appropriation and an authorization of the funding for the project. So for 2015, here, the first page you see here is the construction funds that have been approved for in this year's cycle, this coming year's cycle. It's $38,715 for construction. And as far as for the appropriation, it goes, it's $584,238,000, of which $575,808 is for Aqua, which includes the Kentucky site and the Colorado site. So that money, you can think of that money as being roughly halved between Colorado and Kentucky. Now that is the amount that was requested by the Pentagon, approved by the administration, and approved by both chambers of Congress. And so Aqua for fiscal year 2015 is going to be fully funded again. Now many of you may remember that in the past there were some struggles to get the amount of money requested and the amount felt necessary by the program to get through Congress, and particularly during sequestration and even at times before that. Because of the cooperative nature between the program, the community, our representatives in Washington and in Frankfurt, we were able to get monies reprogrammed in various years that needed to be reprogrammed and so on. So what you see here is a basic summary of the fiscal year 2015 total for this project. It's about $326.65 million for fiscal year 2015. Next, you will see, and most of you have been out there fairly recently. I get out there fairly often, and every time I go out there, it's very impressive how much progress they've made. And here you can see a shot from up on the northwest corner of the site, looking down at it. And you can see, for example, the new things that you might not have seen last time you were there are all these air filter banks that run along this corridor right here, and the stack at the end and so on. And they're all labeled for you, and you can see what it looks like now. We'll be organizing a tour again once the new magistrates and judge take office. We'll be organizing a tour to get those folks out there, and obviously any other elected officials that would like to go out and take the tour will be welcome to do that. So where are we right now? Well, the construction phase of the project is a little bit more than 87% complete. The systemization activities, which means once a specific system has been fully constructed, it begins a systemization stage where it goes through its paces to make sure that it's working as designed. At the end of the day, when all of the phases of construction are complete, then the entire facility will go through a systemization phase, which will be a period of time when all of the different components within the facility are integrated and work together as a system. That's going to be a tremendous milestone once we initiate that systemization. Something that's critical to everyone is jobs. The total project employment at the moment is a little over 1,500, which is a wonderful asset for this community. Of that 1,576, 1,569 of them are working in Richmond. If you recall, there used to be several dozen, if not more, folks scattered around the country associated with the project but not working here. Most of the employees now are on site. Non-manual, you can see the breakdown craft, so on and so forth. Local hires, 57% of the people working on this project are what they call local hires, and that means that they have been hired from inside the Bluegrass Area Development District, the counties that make up that district. The payroll to date is approximately $634 million, and they expect to spend about another $600 million on salaries, on payroll over the period. Here's a diagram of the local workforce versus outside of Kentucky and so on. Initially in this program, we emphasized from the advisory board and from the governor's commission that I serve on how important it was for us, for the contractor, to hire as many people locally as possible. As we move into the systemization phase and ultimately operational phase, we continue to work with the contractor and with the government to try and make sure that that happens. And in fact, we're coordinating between the systems contractor and the local education departments here in Madison County to try and identify where we can funnel high school and college students into this program as we move into the next two phases. So we take that part very seriously to try to get the jobs here and try to keep the jobs here. As part of that, the Citizens Advisory Board that I co-chair with the judge has an economic development working group that I co-chair with David Binge from Cumberland Valley National Bank in Richmond to look down the road, and I've been over this with you all before. What we want to do is we want to keep as many of these jobs here after the fact as we can. We want to try and exploit the use of the infrastructure that's left once the chemical weapons are gone. And as you saw from that picture, it's quite a bit of infrastructure. The estimated value of that infrastructure post-operation is approximately $1.4 billion. That is an asset that this community should be looking at what can be done with it. If the depot wants to use it on the conventional side, that's fine. If the depot doesn't want to use it, or if the depot happens to be closed through the Base Realignment and Closure Act, then what do we do with that? We're working on that project now. We completed phase one of that project. We're looking for the funds to do phases 2 and 3 now. Phase one, you all got copies of about a year or so ago, which identified the types of employment associated with the project, down to very specific types of employment, and compared it to the existing industrial base and looked at talents and capabilities that might be able to be used in the future to try to keep as many of those jobs here as possible. That study was done in coordination with the Bluegrass Workforce Investment Board, the Bluegrass Area Development District, the Kentucky Cabinet, Department of Labor, and so on. That first phase was recognized by the Association of Development Organizations, which is a national organization that looks at these kinds of studies. That report was so well done, it was so impressive that they awarded it an award this past August out in Denver, Colorado. And the Bluegrass Ad and the WIB people went out there and accepted this award. That initiation to even do that study came out of this community. And so being nationally recognized for the first phase, we believe is going to help us find the funding to do phases 2 and 3 and have those be as impressive as the first phase. And just, I'm not going to go over this, but these were the conclusions in phase 1. You can read them for yourself, but they're pretty obvious. It's going to have a significant impact on the community, and it will have an even more significant impact on the community, perhaps, if it shuts down. We don't take advantage of the infrastructure, we don't take advantage of the personnel and the employees and try to keep them here, either at the site for another use or into the private sector. Phases 2 and 3 are going to look at other aspects of the project, and so we're still working on that, and I anticipate that after the turn of the year, our opportunity to get the funding to do phases 2 and 3 will increase. Obviously, Congressman Barr, Senator McConnell, and Senator Paul are all aware of all of this. They've been very supportive of it, and we're going to be talking with them repeatedly after the turn of the year to see if we can't move something forward from the federal side to get some funds. Now, another aspect of the program is what you call explosive destruction technology. This is the technology that's going to be used to destroy the approximately 15,000 mustard rounds. The mustard rounds were identified as being solidified or gelled to a degree that they would not be appropriate to be processed through the main facility. Working with the National Academy of Sciences, the National Research Council, Aqua, the Pentagon, any number of people, it was decided that this explosive detonation technology or destruction technology would be the way to go. This is the type of facility we're going to have, and basically we're in the permitting phase right now. A temporary authorization has been approved by KDEP, so they have started preliminary construction immediately adjacent to the main facility pardon me, of this explosive destruction technology. That's where we are right now. These bullet points below the temporary authorization explain what processes can move forward before the final permit is issued. The EDT that we're going to get is one that's been used widely in various different countries and was also used in Anniston, Alabama to dispose of a number of their mustard rounds. So this is not a new technology, it's not a first-of-a-kind technology, it's been used for many years. It's currently being fabricated in Sweden, which is the home base for the company. It's called a static detonation chamber, that's what SDC stands for. Once it's built over there, it'll undergo factory acceptance testing there. Then it'll be taken down, shipped here, erected over here, and it will undergo similar testing here. The schedule for this is the installation and testing should be completed by February of 2017, and the operational period will run from March to December of 2017, which by all planning and scheduling should get it completed with its mission before the main facility goes online to start processing GB and VX agents in various munitions. That's the plan, and we're optimistic that that will happen. Several of us went down to Anniston, Alabama from the advisory board here in Kentucky, traveled down to Alabama, and actually watched this very same technology operate down in Alabama. It was a very educational experience. We came back and reported to the rest of the advisory board. The comfort level, confidence level on the efficiency and efficacy and safety of this technology is very high. This is what happens once the permits are finally issued. CADEP will evaluate the site acceptance tests and make sure that they believe everything is safe and within the environmental regulatory requirements. URS Corporation, which is a subcontractor, the main contractor here, will operate the EDT or the SDC, trying not to use too many acronyms, will operate the explosive destruction technology with the technology provider there providing support should there be any technical issues associated with the operations. And several folks from Anniston who have operated this facility down there will be coming up here to be part of this team. And so there's nothing like people that have done it before to come up and help you get it done right the first time. This is basically what it looks like. You can see it's a multi-storied facility. The material, the rounds come up and are put into this chamber here, one at a time. I believe that's right, Jeff, one at a time?
Most likely in pairs.
Okay, two at a time. You all know Jeff Brubaker. He's the government site project manager for Aqua. Anytime I get a little confused, I ask Jeff. The round is then up in this upper chamber. It's eventually going to go down into the explosive chamber itself. And so here's how it travels. It comes in this way. This gate is closed. It goes into this chamber here. It turns and goes down into the explosive detonation chamber. It's down in there. This gate closed, and the heat associated with this chamber explodes the round inside the chamber. And you can actually, in the control room at the one in Anniston, Alabama, you can actually hear it pop on the speakers that they have that are monitoring it. Once that's done, and occasionally after there's a certain amount of material built up in the bottom of the explosive chamber, it tips over and empties the spent rounds onto this conveyor belt where they're put into bins and then shipped and tested to make sure there's no agent residual, and then it's recycled. So now that we're in November, we're kind of looking down the road as to where we're going to be going. These are the things that we're looking at in the immediate future on the horizon. The construction of the EDT, which we just went over, the medical facility, personal maintenance building, personnel maintenance building construction. The supercritical water oxidation processing building is up. The SCWO units, supercritical water oxidation units, are already in that building. Start up of the boiler system. And this one is going to be the first time that this will happen, and that is the access point from the storage area of the chemical weapons into the processing area. And obviously the first munitions to be moved, to be processed, will be the mustard rounds that are going to the EDT. Continued installation inside the munitions demilitarization building. There's a lot of work that's going on there right now, and again, when we go back out there, you'll be totally impressed with the progress that's been made. So that's it. I don't know how long that was, but probably longer than. How do you do?
You've done pretty good, Craig. That's a really good report. You've done good. We'll give you an A on that.
Thank you. I appreciate your patience. This is a huge project, as you all know. It's $5.4 billion invested in this project. And I just want to say that there have been some glitches along the way, as you would expect with any project of this size. 20 years ago, anytime something came up, there was suspicion, there was accusations, there was conflict between the community and the government or the contractor or whatever. These days, that's all changed. Jeff here represents the government side. Mr. Omachinsky represents the contractor side. We have meetings regularly. Everything's on the table. People are able to sit down and talk with each other and work through any problems, misunderstandings, or what have you, and they are going to happen in this kind of undertaking. And it's just a remarkable transition that's occurred. The outreach people that work for both the government and the contractor are very supportive and very helpful to the advisory board and the governor's commission. And by the way, we lost Dr. Miller. Bob Miller, you may know who Bob Miller was. We lost him on the governor's commission, and we have nominated Tanita Goodwin to replace him on the governor's commission, and that nomination is going up to the governor's office next week, and I think she'll be a very good asset, particularly since there's a lot of focus on the economic development side of things right now. So anyway, I just wanted to emphasize the cooperative nature of what's going on, and if Jeff wants to add anything, I'm sure he will.
Greg, thank you.
Good presentation.
Thank you. Carl?
Can you just, for everyone else's benefit, I sit in most of those meetings with you. Everyone always thinks that we're doing everything first of a kind. You alluded to that EDT wasn't, we're not the only ones. But a lot of people think that if you had an incinerator, you didn't need an EDT, and that's not true. Can you just re-emphasize that with everybody?
Right, yeah.
Everyone's had this similar issue with the mustard.
Yes, okay. What Carl's alluding to is the fact that even the baseline incineration sites, which were designed to take care of all munitions through that process, had the same kinds of problems that we're having here with their mustard rounds. So they had to use, when I mentioned Anniston, Alabama was a baseline incineration site. When they got to these mustard rounds, because they had the same kinds of gel, they couldn't drain the agent in order to put it into the various furnaces. So they had to use an EDT as well. Same thing happened in Tooele, Utah, where they had an incinerator out there. So the fact that we're moving off of neutralization for a certain class of these weapons, namely these mustard rounds, is not because the neutralization technology that we're using is deficient. It's because some of these mustard rounds, you just can't drain them. Doesn't matter what you're going to do with them, you have to drain them first. So I just want, Carl, I think, wanted me to emphasize the fact that this is not a problem that is technology unique to Kentucky or to Colorado. This is, they're going to be using one as well in Colorado.
And that's a benefit to being last online, so you know what everybody else tried and didn't work, you know.
Sometimes it's not bad to be last.
That's right.
You do learn a lot along the way, and plus, you know, I'm not sure what the numbers are, but we're getting a high number of people who have worked in the chemical weapons disposal process for years migrating to this site as the last site, and their expertise is going to be very valuable as we move forward.
Question.
Yes, sir.
When do you think we'll start neutralizing missiles, and about how many employees, and when do you think we will stop? What's the year? You know, those years they keep moving, I never get them nailed down. So what are we thinking right now?
Well, our initial campaign for destruction will be the mustard rounds in 2017 as credit-free. Concurrent with that, we will be doing the testing in the main facility to ensure that we're ready to safely begin destruction of the nerve agent-filled rockets, the so-called M55 rockets. Right now, the official project schedule shows that running between 2020 and 2023. However, we are currently working a more aggressive schedule that might allow us to begin that destruction as early as 2018, which would be the year after the mustard destruction completes. That would work well in the sense that the operating experience and the same personnel that first processed the mustard rounds would transition over into the main plant and assume a number of the senior leadership roles in the main destruction facility. So that's the approach we're undertaking right now.
How many employees do you think?
For the EDT we're talking about 150 to 200 for the main facility where we'll destroy the nerve agent munitions, about 700 plant workers. Those will fall into one of three major organizations: chemical operations, maintenance, and laboratory.
And in addition to those numbers, the CLA, or the Chemical Limited Area, Bluegrass Chemical Activity, where the weapons are stored, they're starting to add employees to their ranks as well. Because when the time comes to start moving this stuff, you're going to need a whole lot more people than you have just to inspect it and make sure that it's safe while it's in storage. So according to Colonel Mason, who is the new commander, I'm sorry?
Colonel Morgan?
Morgan, that's what I meant, Colonel Morgan. There'll be about 200 and some odd employees on that side of the fence as well, moving up from the number now, which I think is around 70 something. So when you put them both together, there'll probably be about 1,000, give or take, people involved in the actual operational phase. And those are the people that we're targeting to try to figure out how we can keep them in this region, or in this county in particular, if possible.
Jeff, is there a reason to start with the mustard gas?
I think the main reason is just for the static detonation chamber and the fact that we can bring it here, repeat the testing that's being done or will be done next spring overseas, and get it ready to run first. That's the primary reason. Plus, it also will give the United States credit under the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. That's the international treaty. The U.S. can show that through destruction of the mustard stockpile, 15% of the bluegrass stockpile is destroyed as soon as practically possible.
And the new deadline in the OPCW, the treaty folks, states that now there's no specific deadline. It used to be 2007, then it moved to, I can't keep up with where it moved, but it kept moving. 12 and then 17. Russia's about to tell them they can't do theirs by 15 now either. So the new directive is you have to do it as quickly and as safely as possible. And as long as you're showing a good faith effort in making progress towards that ultimate elimination, everybody over there is satisfied. So, and another reason is we're going to be able to, when I say we, I mean the collective we, we're going to be able to eliminate the mustard campaign in the main facility. And so instead of getting it done last, we're going to be able to get it done first and even before the nerve agent processing starts. So that'll put us that much further ahead of the game. I'll be presenting this information and an update on this over in The Hague the first week in December, because they're always interested in how we're doing here and how the community's feeling about it. So, like it or not, you'll be represented by me over there. So
Send us some pictures, put them on Facebook.
I will. I'll send you one. Any other questions or discussion?
Thank you, Craig. Jeff, thank you for being here. Anybody else have any questions? Cole?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we'll move on with the agenda. We have a proclamation on the Diabetes Coalition. Is Kim or Paula here? Come forward, honey.
Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Melanie Adams Johnson, and I'm a professor of baccalaureate and graduate nursing at Eastern Kentucky University, and I'm also a board member for the Madison County Diabetes Coalition. So I'm here in good faith representation for both the EKU side of our work with diabetes awareness and prevention and our local diabetes coalition. So let me take just a few minutes of your time, if you would, to share some information about the scope and trajectory of the diabetes epidemic. We've spent the morning so far talking about issues related to public health, economic development, safety of our citizens, et cetera, and community involvement. So this is, from at least my perspective as a public health practitioner, another subject that falls right in line with that. If you can think about an epidemic, an outbreak of disease, or an event threatening public health or risking viability of a community, we think about rather large sort of eventful happenings, things like an event at the Bluegrass Army Depot, or a natural disaster like a tornado, or something like a communicable disease, Ebola, swine flu, etc. We think about those things as public health risks for communities and populations. But actually, it's chronic disease. Chronic diseases that are impacting our health, our citizens' viability, our economic prosperity, etc., with more and more fervor, if you will. So this month, November, every year is an opportunity for global, worldwide recognition of one of the fastest moving chronic disease epidemics in the world, and that's diabetes. Research is telling us that diabetes is the leading cause of things like blindness, kidney disease, amputations, one of the leading indicators for heart disease, stroke. Diabetes is the nation's 6th leading cause of death across all populations, so it's no respecter of persons. It's the leading cause of non-traumatic extremity amputation. Amputations cost us, for one event, one individual that loses a leg, loses a foot, etc., $50,000 per person. That's just for the initial event. Dialysis for just one person costs $80,000 annually. Diabetes is currently costing us about $275 billion every year. By 2050, when our current folks that are teenagers and young adults today are entering into their middle age years, that cost will go up to over $500 billion. So significant economic cost. And then when we think about the numbers of folks worldwide in Kentucky and here in Madison County, we can actually put numbers of people alongside those dollars. So diabetes doesn't have a cure. There's no cure, but there are lots of things that we can do to prevent the disease, and lots of things that we can do to stop that progression of disease. We have about 390 million people worldwide that are diagnosed. We have about 25 million people here in the U.S., 336,000 people in Kentucky, and 6,560 people right here in Madison County that are dealing with this disease every day. Diabetes also impacts about 308 million people across the world who have diabetes or pre-diabetic conditions. 79 million of those people live here in the U.S., and over 250,000 of those people live in Kentucky. So not only are we seeing our numbers of folks who are living with the disease grow, but the numbers of folks that we know are right on that cusp for developing the disease is also continuing to grow. Millions of people around the country and thousands of people right here in Madison County have the disease but have no access to care or have access to specific diabetes specialty information. So one of the leading missions that we have as a coalition is to be able to bring evidence-based diabetes health education, information, and services to folks who need it the most and are least likely to get that. So for the last 11 years, Eastern Kentucky University, our baccalaureate graduate nursing students and faculty, and the Madison County Diabetes Coalition have partnered together to sponsor 2 events each year. One in the fall is the annual Diabetes Day. First Christian Church provides us an in-kind space, and we have between 25 and 30 diabetes service providers that come together and offer their services, resources, screening tests, referrals, etc., to folks that are living with diabetes or who are at risk for developing complications from the disease. So every year for the over the past decade, we've served about 1,500 individuals with those services. We've connected those individuals to healthcare resources, to medical homes, even to emergent or emergency kind of services that they've needed while they've been with us. Every year in the spring, we partner with local elementary schools, worksite wellness organizations, etc., to provide diabetes prevention and awareness in our elementary schools. All of these services are really aimed at not only getting the word out about the prevalence of diabetes and the risk, but also what we can do collectively to increase our resistance against developing the disease and decreasing our risks. So what we have each year in November, in observance of World Diabetes Day, which is November the 14th every year, is we ask that our elected officials in Berea City, Richmond City, and for our county government to join together in helping us raise awareness about diabetes and the work that we're doing collectively to make an impact on that. So the Madison County Proclamation for World Diabetes Day is coming before Mayor Conley today, the Madison County Fiscal Court today, and then Richmond Mayor Jim Barnes actually signed off on this proclamation at the Richmond City Commission meeting a week or so ago. So thank you again for your support of our efforts to get the word out and raise awareness about diabetes. Thank you for supporting the efforts of both EKU and our Madison County Diabetes Coalition. And we look forward to the spring event at the EKU Samuel Track with Waco Elementary School, with Model Laboratory School, and with local businesses joining in to sponsor that event.
Do you have a proclamation with you?
I do.
Could we have it in all the masters sign it?
Absolutely. I can pass these around.
We'd be more than happy. And if you would state your name for the record so Kenny would have it.
Okay. My name is Dr. Melanie Adams Johnson with Eastern Kentucky University and the Madison County Diabetes Coalition.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
I believe the mayor's ready to sign his. Mayor, good to see you. Congratulations.
Glad to be here.
Hey, yeah, don't steal my word now.
Thank you all very much.
Greg, if you would. Wow, it didn't make out. Thank you.
You're the judge.
Is that okay, Judge?
You've made it.
Yeah. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna move on with business. Next thing on the agenda would be award the Knoblet Bridge, and I have the bid here in front of me, and it's for a total of $157,451. And that's $70,000 to tear the other bridge out and $87,451 to replace. And I might also go on to say that This is Bronze Concrete LLC, which was the bid, but we need to make sure that in the minutes, Kenny, that we put in there that the installer is responsible for all permits. So we need to put that in the minutes. But the bid is for Bronze Concrete LLC, it's $157,451. We have a motion,
Was they the
award
only,
that.
was they the only bid that?
It's the only bid we had.
Make a motion to accept the bid.
Second.
Master King,
Yes,
Master Barger,
Yes.
Master Hughes,
Yes.
Master Cole.
Yes.
and it's a project well deserved.
Well, it's been a long time.
Been a long day.
But, you know, this is one of those new bridges that they're experimenting with, and we may really like that. I don't know. I mean, it's something we gotta look at. They have several in other counties, so we'll just have to wait and see. Okay, the next order of business is appointment to the Madison County Library Board, and that appointment will be Nola Newman, and her term will expire on January 1, 2019. I need a motion on that, please.
So moved.
Second?
Master King,
Yes,
Master Barger.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Cole.
Yes. Okay, the next order of business will be the judge's report, and I'll just tell you, I don't have anything unless somebody gives me something. I don't have anything. So we'll go to comments from department heads. Let's go around the room. Doug, you have anything?
I don't have it, it's 330 people in jail.
3:30.
Well, I was gonna ask you that.
Glad to be here.
Well, yeah, I'd say you are. You're glad to be here than there, right?
More room in here than is there.
Carl?
I just had one thing to bring up. The City of Berea asked me to take the list that we've been talking about in the three governments meeting for what CSET benefits, EMA benefits are to the community. I took the 07 list, the 08 list, the 12 list, which is the last one we looked at, smushed them into one list, and I'd like to sit down with all three governments again soon, first of the year, hopefully. You guys can have another meeting and get me in, and we sit down and talk about that. And then I'll put prices. It's 9 pages of items. So I'll price those up after we've gone over and discussed what you're most interested in, because it's gonna be hundreds of hours of work to price all 9 pages. So I'd like you guys to kind of give me phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, so I can start working on it to put you guys where you need to be, because we got some really tough decisions to make. You know, you heard from Jeff and Craig that the email will be sooner than what's on paper right now. It'll be complete, and we need to think about what we need to keep, protect our citizens, and what we're comfortable in keeping, so that we can make the right plan and not wind up like some of the other CSEP states did, where they had no plan and they wound up losing just about everything they had here in CSEP, and we don't want to be that same person.
Thank you, Carl. Chris, you have anything?
Yeah, everybody should go out and check out the county's website, just put up a new template, a new design, added a whole bunch of information. So everybody should head out there and take a look at it, hopefully you'll like it. And also, we're still working on our live streaming of our fiscal court meetings on TV to help people watch that don't have cable or they have Dish Network or something like that. So today is our first crack at live streaming from Berea, and we're doing it from our mobile phone. So we'll encourage everybody on the website to sign up for the notifications and those kinds of things. So go ahead and take a look at it when you get a chance.
Thank you, Chris. Jim?
Yeah, we've, in the last month, 6 weeks, we've put about 1,000 kindergartners through Safety City. With a very big success, cooperation with Lower Georgeson and Rebecca Collins with the health department. That's been a very big success. We're getting a lot of good feedback on that. That's very important to us.
I say those kids are really excited.
Yeah, it's been really, it's been a good thing, very good thing.
Well, keep up the good work, 'cause, you know, that's where it all starts, with their
That's
children.
my opinion. We'll never know the money that's saved or the lives that's saved, because you just can't put a number on it. You know, whatever we stop now, that's the most economical fire that we'll ever fight, is when we don't have to fight.
That's correct. Thank you. What about the treasurer's office? You're representing the treasurer's office. You have anything to bring forward? Well,
Come on, give us.
Yeah, we're glad. Hey, you was on camera once, so you can be again. Philip, do you have anything?
Last year, the Battle of Richmond Visitor Center partnered with an organization called the Holiday Mail for Heroes, where we collected Christmas cards from the community, and they were sent to military personnel overseas. Last year we collected over 700 cards in 10 days. We never thought we would be able to do that from this community. This year we've expanded it, and we're again collecting Christmas cards. We're also collecting new DVDs through an organization known as Operation Stars and Stripes. And this year they will go to our servicemen and women serving in Afghanistan. And we'll collect them up through November the 21st. If you happen to come out on the 22nd, I'm sure we can probably still get them in the box. And they will be shipped out right before Thanksgiving. Bring to the Battle of Richmond Visitors Center out at the split of US 25 421 from 10 until 4 Monday through Friday and 11 to 3 on Saturdays. And if that doesn't work, give us a call and we'll work out something to get your donation to us. Because we've got to, although we're all at home during Christmas, a lot of military personnel aren't, and that's the way we can express our appreciation to them for serving us.
Thank you, Philip. Sheriff, you have anything?
Well, our tax collection is going fine. Everything is going good at the Sheriff's Department. And I'd like to personally thank the citizens of Madison County for coming out and exercising their constitutional right to be able to vote on November the 4th. And I'm glad to be elected, and I promise you will not disappoint anyone.
Glad to have you, Mike. Kenny, do you have anything?
I need a motion to approve poll worker pay for election day.
That's with the raise too, right?
Yep, that's with the $25 raise. for the
Some
day.
of them is bragging about it. So moved.
Second.
Master King,
Yes.
Master Carter.
Yes.
Master Hughes.
Yes.
Master Combs.
Yes.
By the way, it's well deserving sitting there from
Well, that's half
5:30
what they're
in the morning.
making Fayette County, so that's good. How about you, Deputy Judge?
No, sir, but thank you for asking.
Did I forget any department head? If I did, I apologize. Our county attorney's not with us today, but it's a little disappointing. I wish we'd had somebody here or one of his staff, but nothing's really come up that we have to worry about anyway. If it does, I guess we'd have to put it off, but hopefully that's not the case. Comments from the masters?
Well,
King.
I'd like to say it's been good serving here in Brea, as I guess this is probably my last meeting here, and it's been good to serve the people in southern western part of Madison County. And it's an honor to be able to sit in this seat and say that I've tried to do the best that I can for the people of Madison County and to serve. And I know that it's left in good hands, and I'm sure to still excel and grow. Tom got elected by looking back like me, and you know, no, I'm just kidding. But, it's good to have Tom. It's going to be taking my seat. I believe it'll be in good hands, and also the new judge, Reagan. I didn't get to work with you, but I know y'all do good. Again, you've been elected, and Roger and Kenny and the sheriff over there. It's a good time, and it's also a sad time to leave and knowing something you like, but nevertheless, life goes on. So other than that, thanks.
Well, we're glad to have you, Greg, and enjoyed working with you.
Good people too as employees, so appreciate them too.
Roger?
Master Combs, nothing's out of the ordinary right now, I don't think. Just to fill in on the ferry, we hope to get it back open today, but it probably ain't gonna happen. We're looking for tomorrow, but we just had some parts that hadn't been put on it yet that's got to go, so still waiting.
Well, you can't hurry everything up.
No.
Billy Ray?
You know, we got it good here in Madison County.
We do.
I mean, I've heard it said if anybody wants a job, they can find one here. And matter of fact, the trick is finding people to fill a lot of jobs. So this has really been good to serve. It's a really good court. We've had good harmony, and it's been a lot of fun. So I like coming to Brea too.
Thank you, Billy. My only comment is I'm just glad to be here, but do we have any comments from the audience? I mean, we've got two podiums. I do appreciate each and every one of y'all coming in, and I'm going to say this, our next court date will be Tuesday, November the 25th, and that will be in Richmond. And I need a motion to pay the claims and approve the transfers, but I didn't see any claims. I'm sure we had.
Let's see. They came up, this morning, so they're there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
So
we
I'll
need-
make the motion.
Thank you, Bill.
I never seen none.
They're there in the Dropbox.
Well, I can't look up when my battery's dead.
My drop box don't have them, so.
Yeah, I just have got them this morning. I'll second, we'll just have to look them over and
Yeah.
see if there's something that we need to question.
Thank you, Roger.
Motion King,
Yes.
motion Barker,
Yes?
motion Hughes,
Yes.
motion Cole.
Yes. This time, I'd ask for a meeting, go in executive session, personnel matters.
So moved?
Second.